Good morning, people. Good morning. Happy morning to you guys, and welcome to Son of Encouragement Ministries. And my name is Al Webb. Glad to see you guys this morning. Excuse me. And I just want to let you guys know that I had a great week, a beautiful week. But in the same token, it was a busy week. And I had to, once again, like I always say, I go to the Lord in situations like that, and I couldn't understand why I was feeling the way that I was feeling, and my body was worn down, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what, I'm getting enough rest. But actually it was more than just the rest. I think about years ago, and I'm old enough to remember this, and some people that's watching this may also be old enough to remember this, is that they had a thing called a blue law back in the day, where you were not able to open your businesses on Sundays, but now they've overlooked that, and it made me think about in the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 8, God told us that 6 days you shall work, and the seventh day you shall rest. But it was a purpose for that day. That day was supposed to be dedicated to the Lord. It's called the Lord's Day, which was known as the Sabbath, but God in his wisdom was wise enough to point us to doing that, encouraging us to do that. And I thought about it, and you know what? It's a purpose behind it. It's not just a day of rest. So many of us, we're struggling right now with, depression and things like that, and we're just heavy laden, so to speak. This is the word of God says we're heavy laden by all kinds of burdens, and things are just keeping us down, and depression and all of that comes into play. And I really believe deep down in my heart, some of that is because we're not doing what God calls us to do. And that's at times we have to rest. We have to rest. And in Matthew chapter 11, and I'm going to pop it up if you just bear with me 1 minute, if I can get this thing to act right. Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 through 30 states, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Well, in verse 29, it kind of caught my attention because it says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me." And I think during that time of rest, we're not just sleeping. I think that time of rest is time to sit down and talk to the Lord, talk to him about your life and the things that are going on in your life. And in Psalms, 23rd Psalm, and we know Psalm 23, most of us, we've heard it. He said, "He makes me to lie down in green pastures and leads me beside the still waters, and he restoreth my soul." So that day of rest is also a day of restoration for us. It's a time where we can rethink, we can get our thoughts together. We can, it's somewhat like a recharge. That's the way I look at it. It's like a recharge. But more importantly, I believe it's time for us not only to rest our bodies, but to have a serious talk with the Lord and seek him, so he can restore us and start pointing us in the directions that we really need to go. Because we get so wrapped up in the world, get so wrapped up in our bills, get so wrapped up in making money, seeing how much we can earn, how much we can get in our overtime, and we worry about a lot of things. But there comes a time in our lives, and I think all of us need to start doing it, including myself, because this week I was actually worn out. And I know that I needed that recharge. I needed to settle down, take time to rest, and talk to God about all that is going on in my life. You know, and I encourage each and every one of you to do the same. I pray, God, that you hear these messages, you know, and you're listening to what I'm telling you, you know, and I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I'm just trying to encourage you. Take time to rest. And when you're resting, talk to the Lord about your life and what you're going through. God bless you guys. And I hope you receive this message. I hope you're well. I hope that you guys have a wonderful week. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next week, Lord willing. God bless you and have a wonderful week. And don't forget the rest. Don't forget to spend that time with God doing that rest. God bless you all. And I love you guys and hope to see you next week, Lord willing. Peace and blessings.